Hey guys, and welcome back to the Homestead. If you read the title, you kind of know what's already going on with this, but I am sitting in the truck. I'm getting ready to move it because we're going to fill up the back with trash and take it to a dumpster. I cannot explain how fun it is to share with YouTube, but it's also taxing, I think is a good word for it. For the next month, I just want to focus on my family. It is a beautiful month here in Michigan. July is amazing. And it's one of the few months that we get that the whole month is typically good weather. We may have a couple rainy days, but it's not bad. But I just want to really focus on my family right now and not on having that brain that's always thinking, is this content I need to share? Is this something that I should put on Instagram or YouTube? So I'll share what I want to on Instagram and not do YouTube. And that is going to be for the whole month of July. Update. We have added animals. We haven't subtracted any animals except for one chicken. So let me take you around and show you a few of those. So one of the animals that we have added, we got our 5 sheep. And then after that, we started looking for a ram. And I found one. He was only about an hour away. He was young, but old enough that when we need him in December, he will be rearing and ready to go. And I put him with our buck for my goats, and he has been thriving, absolutely thriving. I actually ended up getting a second buck for our goats. Joseph and I went to a pasture seminar and just learning about pasture, and this person had goats. They had a goat dairy, and that was all they did. And I learned so much from that person. Like, he had so much knowledge on breeds and dairy that it was, well, just put it plain old, it was incredibly impressive. And I realized that while my beautiful Nigerian dwarf buck is a good option for me, it is probably not the best option for all of my needs. So we added a mini La Mancha buck. He's 3/4 La Mancha, 1/4 dwarf Nigerian, so still got the dwarf Nigerian in there, not as much as a full, and they are adorable. I have them set up in my favorite type of pasture finch, Premier One. They probably should sponsor me at some point because I talk about them all the time. This is an amazing netting. It works great, and we just move it around and they clean up spaces, and I can show you where they've cleaned up. Hi boys. 3 of them get along really well, so it works out for me because I don't have to stress about them all being there all together. They have this little hut that they share. Actually, it's very funny to see all 3 of them in the hut. They just go bloop bloop bloop, one right beside the other. They were here and they completely cleaned this out in a week. There was brush and bramble. I mean, you can kind of tell around some of these trees what was there. And all I have to go in and do is clean up the dead limbs now. This was also the same way. It was full and they completely cleaned it out. You can kind of see where they haven't been, and this stuff is waist high where they haven't been. So now I have them in a new section, and I'll show you, I could not even walk in these trees when they moved in, and now I can completely walk through them, and it's only been a few days. 100% why I moved them around. They are my cleanup crew. You can see on the other side of that fence, but we could not walk through these trees, and now they're open and available and I can walk through all of them. They do need to finish cleaning down stuff. They still have another like 3 or 4 days in here, and I'll move them one set that way and they'll clean that up. Yeah, pasture rotation, these 3 are on cleanup duty, and because it's only 3 and they're all friendly enough that I can catch them as long as I have a grain bucket, which some of you are like, oh, it's probably not super friendly, but that's as friendly as I need them to be. I can catch the bucks, no problem. They'll walk up to me and I just grab their collars and lead them along. It is the lamb who is a pain to catch, and so if I just go to catch him, I'm not going to get him. He won't just come up to me. If I have grain, he'll come up, no problem. So we added those boys to our farm with the intention of breeding. We also added a boar, and again with the intention of breeding. His name is Bruno, and as my husband says, we're just not going to talk about it. He is a full Berkshire boar, and his purpose on the homestead is, once again, to make babies, and he is doing his job. He lives right now with our 3 breeders. We have a Duroc mix, we have 2 large black ladies, and there's also a Gloucestershire Old Spot, but she wasn't quite ready to breed yet. She just wasn't at a size that we wanted to breed her at, and so we will breed him with all of our ladies. I have seen him breed a couple of them, and so we're looking at October dates for piglets, and these will be feeder piglets. They will end up being a heritage. They will be out on pasture along with all of our other ones. Speaking of our other ones, we are getting them all butchered. I am so excited on the 20th. Bruno. Hi, boy. Don't bite me. Yes, Pickles. This is one of our girls, and then that's Bruno right there. He's cute. He likes belly rubs, but he's all wet right now from playing in water. Disgusting. I am very grateful for rain. Makes a mud pit for our pigs. So those are our additions right now to our homestead. We are currently working on getting my chickens, which are, as you can see, we're working on lots of things. We're getting all sorts of stuff moved and cleaned out. I'm so excited. We're throwing away a bunch of stuff. There's one of the things with farms, and this was a farm before we made it a homestead, they collect things and there is stuff everywhere. So we're working on that. We're gonna get my chickens moved up to my garden. I have a space for them that I am very excited about. I've already gotten fencing from the many piles of stuff here on the homestead. Another thing that was decided, and this was a really hard decision for me because we have been moving our chickens for years. We have always moved around our chickens. We have an electric fence that we use that they don't really get out of. Every once in a while we'll see them escape it. And they've been in their little A-frame hut here, but we have decided to permanently fence in this orchard. You'd never know there was an orchard here. It's so overgrown right now. But this is a starter orchard. We're gonna fence in this orchard and give the orchard to the chickens and just permanently have Josie's laying tins in the orchard. It should be pretty simple to maintain, and like I said, we're gonna put a fence around it, make it solid so that I'm not having to move those guys around all the time, and it's near a water source, so it's easy to maintain for Josie. She has a duck hut now, which she has her 3 ducks in. I really don't want any more ducks, but we may end up with one more because she wants a cayuga. And those ducks, again, they're having their own permanent pen. We're just trying to make it so that the day-to-day maintenance on the homestead is a lot easier. Now for a little bit sadder of a note, we are completely getting out of rabbits. For whatever reason, and we are not sure, the only thing I can think is the rabbits aren't weaning their young correctly, but most of our babies, and I mean we've had a lot, so we're talking probably over 40 or 50, have died. And they die at about the 5 to 6 week mark when mom has a new litter and they aren't being weaned right. So we pulled our buck out. He is now living in our outdoor pen here, which will keep the outdoor pen, probably not keep our buck. Hi, bud. You guys can see him in there. He's gorgeous. So what we're gonna do is 100% cull the colony, and we'll let these rabbits raise out the last of their young. There's 2 litters in there right now, and we've done everything. We've cleaned out the pens. We've done everything right. Everything has been done correctly. They just not have been surviving. When I butchered, I didn't notice any sign of spotty liver. I didn't notice anything, but yeah, it's time. Beth is a little bit devastated. It's just hard to know what to do. You know, you lose animals, but this has been a huge amount of loss, and I don't think that they are healthy. So we need to stop everything and start over. The parents have not died, so I don't think the parents are sick. But I just think that the weaning process hasn't gone like we needed it to, and so the babies haven't been weaned at an appropriate age. The moms have been weaning them at 4 weeks instead of 6, and for a really healthy kit, you're looking at a 6-week mark for weaning. They can be weaned at 4. 6 is better for separation, and they just have not been doing well. So we're gonna get out of rabbits for right now. We will go back to doing rabbits probably. Maybe not next year, but the following year. And just for the next bit, Beth is going to be focusing her efforts on, most likely with my goats and sheep. She'll be working with me on those instead of with the rabbits. And we'll set them up a new colony in a new space, because we are going to take this garage and clean it out and turn it into something else. But that's news for a later date. The sheep have not lambed yet. We're just waiting for them. I expect them to lamb this next month. I probably will put up whatever on Instagram, whatever is going on with that, just because that's exciting to me and things that I want to be sharing. My focus for the next month, like I said, is going to be on chosen shared content. I will not be sharing every day. I will not be doing stories every day. I will not be doing YouTube videos, but I will choose what I share and when I share it. And that's something that I'm excited about. The last update I'm going to give you is on the potatoes. They are doing great. They are growing so well. This has been a great potato year, despite the fact that we've had fluctuating temperatures and everything. I'm really happy with my potatoes. As you can see, we've hilled a couple of them twice. We've hilled some of them just once. They're starting to flower, which is fun, which means we're getting closer to harvest. And they are growing like crazy. I'm actually really happy with probably 90% of my garden right now. Previous years, I would say we were happy with probably 50% of my garden. So as long as it keeps growing, we'll keep having garden stuff. It's looking pretty good. It looks like a real garden, and that excites me. I have learned this year, raised beds all the way. I am ready to be done with in-ground gardening, except for things like corn and potatoes. I don't mind doing those in-ground, but everything else, I am ready to have raised beds for these things. So yeah, that's basically it. That's what's going on here. Other than that, we're just going to keep plugging along. We're not doing a bunch of meat birds this year. We had kind of planned on doing rabbits and focusing there instead of meat birds. So I'll probably end up getting 1 or 2 batches of meat birds in August and September to grow out, and that'll be it. We'll just keep it really low key. Our main focus is actually going to be cleaning out all of our barns and sheds and buildings so that we can better utilize them and use them in a way that we want to use them. So that's it. I will see you guys in August. Until then.